Hi guys, so I've just got back from a trip and I've just got on stands, washed it all off, and I just thought, you know what, I'll just add my bits on it and just show you my Viking Reload, and I'll go over some of the basics of the kayak itself. There's not a massive amount of reviews out there, it's not a full in-depth review, it's just an overview of mine, to be honest. I suppose I'll start at the front. I'll start at the grab handle. It's probably a very important part of the kayak, to be honest with you, because you're pulling this thing around in all kinds of terrain, and you know you want something that's going to try the test of time. And I've pulled this over some pretty uneven grounds, and I've had this kayak fully loaded with all my fishing gear and cans of pop, sandwiches, clothing, my sea trugs bin in the front, and I've not felt any worry whatsoever regarding the handle. It's done the job and it's perfect. So yeah, I'm 100% confident in loading this kayak up and pulling whatever weights. The front, you got your normal storage rope, so you can put your paddle under there, you can put a dry bag and sleeping bags or whatever. You know, it's just another additional thing to the front of the kayak. Coming to the cockpit area now, you've got your storage hatch. It is rubber. It is fastened as well with, if I can get them out there, it is fastened with the clips as well, so it is secure. When you take it off, it is attached as well to a piece of tether, so you haven't got to worry about it falling in the sea or in a lake and you're saying goodbye to it forever. It is attached. So how do I find the storage hatch? Well, if you can see there, it doesn't go all the way back because the tackle pod's actually in the way, but it does have gaps on each side, so you can actually slide down a couple of rods down there. And I have tried it just to see, and it does work. They can go down, but I don't store rods in there. And if you look at the front, it does go a fair way, but it goes right to the point end. So yeah, but anyway, like I said, I just store my trolley in there, and but it is completely sealed all the way around. It's got the lip on it as well, so the actual cover folds underneath the lid. So I've had this, and I've had waves crashing over, I've had it in heavy rain. I've tested it out. I wouldn't be doing this overview if I hadn't tested it, and I have tested it, and I had no water in it whatsoever, not even a drop. Even when I hose it down and I've got the jet washer on it and getting, you know, thick mud off the bottoms, and I've had no problems whatsoever. So when it comes to the storage hatch, I'm 100% confident and happy with the storage of the Viking. So let's move to the tackle pod. I'm not going to go too in depth regarding the tackle pod. I think you pretty much know how it works and it comes in and out. But what I will say about it is, if you buy the transducer kit, it comes with a strap that you attach inside your pod for the battery itself. Now, the battery is meant to be fitted, so I'm trying to hold it with my head, fits in here. And when you get the transducer kit, it comes with a strap that you screw in at this part here at the front and this part here at the back. And then you put your battery in, and then it clips and holds your battery in place, which is great. But I found that a couple of guys that had done this was getting water in the pod, in the actual pod itself. And what was happening was, what they didn't realise is, if you look underneath, there's a big square recess under there, and the water comes up underneath, and it fills. Believe it or not, it actually fills that square up. So of course, your battery is basically sitting in a case of water underneath. And if you've got holes in there and you haven't marine gooped them properly, then you are going to get an inflow of water. And personally, I didn't want that, which I guess nobody does. So all I did was I got a solid foam block, cut a square out of it and shoved my battery in it. So now it's absolutely secure, solid, it can't move up and down, left or right. and it still gives me plenty of storage here for my tackle boxes and anything else I want put in. I'm not going to go into my fish finder or anything like that. So yeah, tackle pod spot on. Storage hatches. There's one between your legs. I've hosed this down, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any water in, but I guarantee there won't be, because as you can see, it's bone dry. Again, I've had no problems, no issues whatsoever with the hatches. Got a big rubber seal, and it interlocks as well, so it's having peace of mind at the end of the day that you can put your phone in there, you can put your keys in, you can put whatever you like in there, and it's going to stay dry, and it does exactly that, and that's it. You haven't got to worry about it leaking, because, well, personally mine doesn't, and I don't know anybody that's had any problems regarding the hatches on the Viking Reloads or the Viking Profishes or whatever. Regarding the Viking kayak seals and hatches, they have done a top job of sealing them. Like I said, and I've had this in all kinds of conditions, and I've had no problems at all. I'm 100% confident. You've got a couple more dry hatches, storage hatches at the back. That one has got a big scupper plug, as you can see. And then the back ones, you've got one at the back. I'm not going to undo it, you know how they work. But well, I will show you actually, because it is connected inside, so you haven't got to worry about losing it. But again, I have had no water in these whatsoever. I use these mainly for, I store my anchor trolley system in this one. The only thing I would have liked to have seen is maybe a rope that going off this onto the scupper, because there is a hole there, so I don't understand why they just have them to put a tether on it, stop it from falling in, like you have on the hatch at the front. Maybe, you know, I'm going to stick one on myself, but these do float, you know, as you can see, they float, so you haven't got to worry about losing them. So rod holders, you've got 4 at the back. These ones kick your rods out, so if you're trolling, they aren't going directly over the back of your kayak. The 2 centre ones, as you can see, basically in the middle, set back. So yeah, again, I've had no water around the seals. I've had me inside my kayaks being bone dry every single time. So again, when it comes to sealing with the Vikings, it's completely solid. I've had no problems at all. Additional, this is additional. This doesn't come with the kayak. It's a chill pod. You can fill it with ice and put cans of pop in there and sandwiches, or you can use it as storing fish if you're on the sea and you're catching, and you put your catch in there, or you can use it as storage. It doesn't have to be a chill pod, you know. I use it for storing some of my coats in there sometimes, the spare clothing, and especially if I'm going out in the rain and it's raining on me, you know, I want somewhere where, sometimes try and pull stuff out of dry bags, especially if it's at the bottom of the bag, it can be a pain in the arse. So it's easy just to turn around, shove your arm in there and pull your trousers out, or a spare jacket, or so no, it's a good storage. If you don't have that, it's got a massive tank well. I'll just undo this and I'll show you. So yeah, it just deattaches, as you can see. It's massive. The tank well is massive. It's got 2 massive big scupper holes, as you can see, one at the back as well. And yeah, it's well, you can stick a crate in there if you prefer a crate, and you'll still have loads of room. Don't know, I'm trying to guess. I'm guessing it's probably 1, 2, I don't know, it's probably about 2.5 to 3 foot long. And at the widest point, well, it's going to be 29 inches, isn't it? So yeah, it's a decent sized tank well. And the chill pod just basically slots under these eyes, and then stops at the back. The only gripe that I have got with the Viking kayak is the anchor trolley system. As you can see, they have moulded in brass inserts, so you stick your pad eyes directly into it, and there's one at the back exactly the same. But the massive issue is when you attach your ropes, it goes vertically straight across your kayak, which for somebody like me who's accident prone and clumsy, is a disaster waiting to happen. I'll get my lures stuck into it, my trebles will be all wrapped around in it, I'll get my legs tangled in it if I flip. You know, it was just, I don't understand why Viking put the pre-moulded holes at the top. So what I did was I came back, and I don't anchor from the front of my kayak anyway. I always anchor from the middle or the back. I may anchor maybe 3/4 from the back to the front, but I never ever go. I never anchor from the front of my kayak. So I found about 2 inches from the bottom rubber, perfect, and that gives you that perfect line. Gives you that perfect line straight across, and it's a proper, neat fit. It works perfectly, and then all I've done is screwed it through there, filled it full of marine goop, and put some washers and plates at the back of it as well. I'm not going to show you how to fit it, because at the end of the day there's loads of YouTube videos out there on how to fit anchor systems. But like you said, it's by doing it this way, it's a nice clean install, and I've had no problems with it, and it works perfect. So yeah, I just don't understand why they've put it on the top when they could have just they've done it on the back at the sides, as you can see, which works perfect. But like I said, I don't understand why they've done it on the top. So that's my anchor system, and that's the only real gripe I've got with the Viking kayak. Now the weight of the kayak comes in at they say in 31 kilograms, which meant nothing to me when I was looking to buy a kayak. You know, well how heavy is 31 kilo in a 14.5 foot length of something? You know, can I lift that over my head? Can I lift it onto my car? And you know, because I couldn't really try one at the time because no Vikings were in the UK at the time, so I took a risk and I bought the kayak. Well, when I went to pick it up, there was another well-known brand there as well, but it was 13 foot, and this is, like I said, 14.5 foot, nearly 15 foot, and this was lighter than the 13 foot well-named brand one. And here's a quick clip showing you how light it is compared. So basically it's just me lifting it up and lifting it over my head. The only problem that I have with it is the balancing. So I can have my hands all the way to the back, and it's still a little bit heavier at the back, with the back end, and that's the only problem I have lifting it over my head. If I put my sea tug trolley in the front of the kayak, it's perfectly balanced, and that's not a problem. But as for it lifting it onto my car, lifting it chest height, I have no issues whatsoever. I've got a C-Max. It's not a massive long car. The UK laws, they basically say if you're worried about the length of the kayak being 14.5, nearly 15 foot long in transport, as long as your kayak doesn't go over a metre from the back of your car and a metre forward of your car, then you're totally fine. But this fits perfect on my car, on my roof of my car. I can lift it on there, no problem. Even after a full day's paddling, you know, I've paddled maybe 15-20 miles some days, and I can lift this, I can put this on my roof now with no issues whatsoever on my own. And this is one of the reasons why I went with the Viking as well. I wanted a longer boat, but you do, unfortunately, you got to compromise with weight, width, length, and all the rest of it. It's not just a sea kayak as it's advertised. I've had this on the smallest of rivers, the tightest of rivers, the shallowest of rivers, and with no rudder, and I've had no issues at all. It's been perfect. I can't fault the paddle. It's 10 out of 10. So I hope this video does help. Like I said, it's not a massive full in-depth review, and I'm not going to flip it upside down and stand on it. But no, the materials are great, the paddling's great, it's light, it does exactly what you want a kayak to do, and I'm very happy with it, yeah, and I'll definitely highly recommend it. So they do a smaller one, they do GT, Profish GT. I think that comes in just under 12 foot, It's a lot wider, a lot shorter, designed for coastal areas, around the coast and lakes and rivers and stuff, but I do all them things on a Reload.